Good morning, everybody. This is Jack Gleason with Startuptrading.com. It is 9 o'clock in the morning, New York time, 4/20/2020. For economic news, President Trump spoke last night. We also had the CPI numbers out of the New Zealand dollar, and then trade balance out of the yen. German PPI current account and trade balance for the euro. This morning, wholesales out of the Canadian dollar, and then there's nothing till this evening where we're going to have the monetary policy meeting minutes at 9:30 for the Australian dollar. At 1 a.m., RBA Governor Lowe will be speaking. 2 a.m., the CHF trade balance, the GBP claimant account change, and the unemployment rate for the Great Britain pound. At 5 a.m., German economic sentiment and Euro economic sentiment, but nothing really heavy for news either today or tomorrow. Only the Australian dollar has a red and orange news star event. So let's begin our week by taking a look at some things. Now, we have had some developments here. I do think this is going to be a pretty important week, and I do think we're going to see a little bit of a sell-off here. Now, last week, guys, if you remember, we had broken the extension. So let's just review the sequence that the S&P had going into last week. There was a traditional, which was a very strange draw. It was drawn not from the low of the year, but the low of the previous week. And this just had held multiple times on the way up here. It had just, for whatever reason, they just ignored that Monday low, and programs were buying that halfway back from the previous low on Wednesday. Now, we blew out of those targets. We went into an extension. We traded that extension once. We traded that extension twice. And as we've traded that extension for the second time, what we were doing is we were consolidating. We traded it once here, touch of the 50, touch of the 50. We came back. We had a 38% retracement reaction. And our upside targets were 28.63. Now, with that move up into 28.63 and through that targets, there was the new extension that came into play. There was this new extension that came into play. Hold on. And that new extension broke in the morning. It broke in the morning. And that gave us valid short setups for the S&P 500. What the S&P 500 ended up doing, it was a squeeze at the end of the day, similar to what we saw on Thursday. And that related to what the VIX actually had going on. Now, the VIX, we didn't really have the confirmation of the VIX short breaking. The VIX's short sequence held in the morning, and that was our halfway back from the high the 15th. It held in the morning, and when that VIX short held, it pushed the index lower. So the ES might have broken trend, but the VIX did not. Well, this morning, what do we have? We have the VIX re-breaking, or breaking for the first time, the 50% retracement short we were inside of by moving above 36.5. So that's really important that the VIX has broken that setup. And the ES has taken out that previous day's swing low. So what I'm going to be looking for here this morning is the full 50% retracement. I'm just going to use the full 50% retracement short for the day. And I'm going to look at what is the full 50% retracement short from the prior day, just to get a little bit of a zone here. Now, our hourly ATR, this is something I went over in yesterday's morning session. Our hourly ATR is 14 points. So I'm going to start that 14-point range that's right here. And this is going to be, if we make a new low, I'll have to move down my resistance level. But right now, this is my entry-level trade focus for the S&P here today, is up at this halfway back. Okay, between 28.41 to 28.46. And I would ideally like to see that line up with, and I'm just going to draw the low of the day, overnight session, Sunday, too high. Ideally, a perfect lineup would be a move into that 50% retracement long, where our VIX support lines up with our ES resistance. All right. Moving on to the Dow. Two things I want to point out in the Dow. The Dow is most likely going to come into the same anchor new high. This is the higher time frame daily extension in the Dow. And that is from March 26th, the high of March 26th to high. Now this is traded two target, same anchor new high, brings us back down into the lower end of this range. So right now, on average on the hour chart, the Dow is moving 123 points. So that is the zone. I'd like to watch this 23,436 would be the support level that I would first pay attention to below. And then below that, I'm looking at this leg start. This bottom of the range here, and that's down at 23,726. Okay, and let's also pay attention to what is the full halfway back short for the day. I'm going to use Friday's high as well as the Sunday night high to give us a resistance zone here. Okay, and these are really the only two levels of interest I have for a trade. Everything else is just mid-range. Now, if we make a new low, obviously we got to move that resistance level down if we make a new low. Moving on to the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq has in fact reacted off of the 50% retracement short from Friday's high to low, and it has a valid downside target at 86.24. I'm just going to mark up where a retest would be right up here as our resistance zone that I'd like to pay attention to. Now, as far as a downside support level, the original extension from 77.61, which is drawn from the high of March 5th to high to high, that would be down here. Now you have your 50% retracement at 83.63, so that is a level of interest for me. And then the 38.2 is going to line up with the previous lows of Wednesday, and it's going to be at that point we would have already completed the negative 61 from the traditional that traded in the overnight session. So these are the zones that I will focus on. Oil. So it's down 12% here. I think what was it? Oil K20 contract. Yeah, check this out. So we rolled over last week in oil, and this is, not that I'm trading this, but it's fascinating to see. So if you guys remember on the CLK20 contract, our downside targets were 16. Okay, our downside targets were 16 based on this halfway back. Well, we've completed those oil targets, not on the current contract, but on the previous contract. This contract is still trading. The reason this contract is getting hit so hard is because there's nowhere to put oil. So they're just selling it for rock bottom. Oil is at $11 a barrel right now. It is down 40%. 40% into the lowest low in 10 years. And that's on the CLK contract, which is the May contract we did roll last week. But this contract will expire by the end of the week. I just wanted to show you guys this because it's fascinating to me. This has finally completed those targets that we were watching since midway through March. Now, and that's because they don't have anywhere to put it. There's nowhere to put the oil they want to sell. And with that problem, it continues to remain. They've done these oil price cuts, guys, but obviously nobody's going anywhere. There's nowhere to put the oil. They keep taking it out of the ground. We are in an extremely bearish crude oil pattern, and we continue to be. This is the most bearish market. All right, so we had this 50% retracement short at 25.49s on Friday. We completed profit targets. We began extensions here, okay? Those extensions have completed targets. We're going to have a same anchor to the new low. Same anchor to the new low is what I'm watching for here. And that is going to give me this as our resistance zone. Okay. And there's no long setup. None. Probably going right down to the gap fill. For the USD JPY, we're stuck in a little bit of a range here. Now, we did close Friday on a halfway back short. That has broken the break of that short. We now have a long setup, so I'll leave this draw up. Its upside target would take us technically up into the 108.09, but it's still in the middle of the range, and if you did not have an entry into that long trend, it's just going to be something we're going to watch. I'm going to bring this up here. I am not interested in, unless we can get up into like a 108.14 right now for the USD JPY. Aussie dollar, we ended up holding. It's a very strange draw for me, but get rid of this halfway back. There was an extension from 60.49 that traded here, and that same anchor new high all the way to the highs. Looks like that's what our support was. We confirmed it by breaking the opposing short. We have just sat inside of one test of a long. Excuse me. We came down into a second test of the 38.2, and then we've bid up. Our upside targets are 60.14, but it's still in no man's land. We're just kind of going sideways inside of that. Everything else would be a second test unless we get a completion up at the 64.13. And if we do, I would look at there being a resistance level up here. For the euro has a 50% retracement from the high of the 14th to low, and we were front run here in the overnight session. 109 was the resistance level. We traded 108.95, 5-tick front run. So what I would look for is a break below the 61.8. So like a break below this swing low here. We need to come below this swing low. And then another halfway back. Otherwise, it's just potential retest of the top of the range. We need to confirm that resistance by breaking the low and then look for a new entry short. Gold came really, really close to the 1682.4 support level that I wanted to see. 1682.4 is the full 50% retracement from the lows of the 31st to high. Has not yet traded. We are inside of this extension, which is a same anchor new low. Let me get the proper draw. That would technically give us a resistance level at the 38% retracement at 1711. Okay, and the 50 would be behind that at 1719.7. So support level below our current lows resistance level above our current highs. But you can see we went, you know, sideways for some time. It'll be interesting to actually see if right now the halfway back on the daily has been front run by, call it 3 points. It's a 3-point front run. So we'll see what happens if we come into this long and hold it. Silver, same setup. I'm just looking for, we're bearish below 1557s. If we break above 1557s, there's a potential long sequence to begin, but the support level I'm looking at below is a 1509. 1509. Nothing until 1509 is for support for me. GBP USD is losing its strength. There's some heavy participation. We're coming out of the front run to this larger short. We did break this halfway back long, and we set up in this halfway back short. So the GBP USD is in some aggressive sell sequences here. Very weak. And with that being said, the CAD is strong. So we had the full 50 rally, and then we had a second test. We come out of that second test. We've held our first halfway back from lows for the day to target. Next measured move, right here. USD CAD higher time frame upside targets, 142.59. All right, but that's going to wrap up my morning trade plan. If you enjoyed this content, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up. Plan your trades and trade your plan. Everybody have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys in the squawk here shortly. If you're interested in learning more about trading, make sure to get the basic course below. Otherwise, everybody take care and have a wonderful day. Plan your trades and trade your plan. Everybody have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys in the squawk here shortly. If you're interested in learning more about trading, make sure to get the basic course below. Otherwise, everybody take care and have a wonderful day.